Drink it in, man.
Deep left side carry on. Picks on the block. At the 5. At the 2. At the 1 to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions.
Drink it in, man.
Get up, Stafford throws. It is end zone. Caught! Oh, baby, what a catch! Kenny Galladay, you're a freak! What a catch! Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Cornbread! I love the Lions! Say it with me! I love the Lions!
Drink it in, man.
Detroit Koolaid, what is going on, everybody? We are back here on a Monday for the Fantasy Football Flavor Show. Now, normally Chuck is here to join me on this show, but today I'm going solo. This is your boy Oakrey. I'll be talking all things fantasy football today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick off with some news and notes, some big items at the fantasy football front, but then hang in there because I'm going to do a live draft on the draft app. I've told you guys about this before, these best ball tournaments where you can basically enjoy the draft and then you don't have to set your lineup. You don't have to do anything during the season. Really easy to do, really fun. So I'm actually going to do one of those live, walk you guys through that. A standard 10-team league, which I think is what you guys do a lot in the offices or with your friends. So, we'll kind of lay that out for you and do that live, which would be fun. But let me get in real quick to some news and notes. Lots of things happening on the fantasy football front. Now, the big news, I mean, it was crazy that it came out, is that Tyreek Hill, everybody thought he's going to get, 6 games, 8 games. Some people thought a full season. This guy ends up getting absolutely nothing. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I read the text alert. But Tyreek Hill going to be playing for the Chiefs, going to be up and rolling. I mean, I think that offense is going to be incredible. Tyreek Hill is one of my favorite players to watch in the game. This guy, I mean, what does he not do? He can stretch the defense. He can catch a 10-yard route and take it 50 for a touchdown. He just is fun to watch because he's just deadly faster than everybody else on the field anytime you see him. I mean, tiny little guy. Yeah, he's had some off-the-field issues, so you always got to consider that. But one of my new favorite players, Tyreek Hill, is one of those guys where, like, at first, I didn't love him. Like, you'd watch him, he'd make a few plays here or there, but I'm like, man, is he a top receiver? I mean, now with Patrick Mahomes being able to put the football anywhere he needs it, being able to chuck it deep, off the wrong leg, across the field, whatever it is, I mean, this guy's super dangerous. So with no suspension, I mean, it's pretty easy. Like, everybody's been moving him up their draft radar, kind of taking him from, when he thought he was going to be suspended, we were able to get him at this crazy value. Now Tyreek Hill, I mean, you got to move him way up your charts. I mean, the only thing that can happen is something crazy comes out. Yeah, you could still have issues, but if he's on the field, healthy, ready to roll, I mean, this guy, he's in my top 5 receivers. He's got to be considered in those first couple rounds. I mean, I still see him maybe as a second round type guy when you take all the running backs and then you're taking those those first few receivers off the board. But Tyreek Hill, like top of the second round, mid-second round, depending on if you're like in receivers or you want to get running backs. I mean, he's got to be thought of. This hit everybody like a ton of bricks. I mean, they couldn't believe it. I'm happy Tyreek Hill is out there. Now, I don't know what happened behind the scenes. A lot of people want to assume, rumor and innuendo. I just think, they didn't have enough facts. The court system threw this out long ago, and the NFL didn't have enough either. So they basically just said, nothing really we can do. Got to let this guy play unless something else comes out. And I think, he needs to not be a knucklehead off the field. He's had other past issues, but if he stays clean, he's on an incredible offense. You got to move up your draft board. You got to consider Tyreek Hill as the same guy he was last year, if not better, in the second year with Patty Mahomes in that offense. So draft him high. Move him up your charts. If you got him earlier at a great value in some of the best balls and things we'll be doing later, congratulations. But yeah, I'm fired up that Tyreek Hill will be out there playing and be ready to go. So that was the big news item that came out. Next week, me and Chuck are going to be talking busts, those guys you don't want to have on your fantasy team. Those guys to avoid, and we'll also be kind of talking Lions busts. Are there anybody on the Lions team that you do not want to have? You want to steer away from, might not be as good as they were previously, all that type of good stuff. So we're talking all about that, and so we're talking busts, we're talking Lions busts, and we'll probably have another few topics or a few arguments as well. That'll be fun. But let me tell you about this best ball draft I'm going to do right now. So, again, go to the draft app, get it on your phone. You can do these drafts for maybe $1, $3, whatever it is. You get the enjoyment of a draft. It doesn't take long. They let you do these fast so you can blow through a draft pretty quickly. Still get to see where people are taken, who's getting drafted, all that type of stuff. Draft, the way they do it is your scoring roster, you guys that score, is 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, a tight end, and they do have a flex position. So those are the people that are going to score on your team. Now, the guys that don't score well each week or get injured are not going to count against your team. So you kind of got to balance it out for injury-wise. You don't want to be short in a position and have 2 injuries and then have a really empty spot all year. That'll kill you in these best balls. But you do want to play guys that are going to blow up, that could have those huge weeks. And you do want to have that even out roster, depending on how you want to spend your guys. So let's go ahead and take a quick break, hit a word from our sponsor, and I'll be right back doing a 10-team standard type league on draft live as it happens for you, talking all about who I'm looking at, who I'd pick, who everybody else is taking. We're going to break it all down. So everybody, let's get a quick word from our sponsors. We'll be right back talking a live mock draft here on the Fantasy Football Flavor.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Baker's, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Baker's worth it every time. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
All right, everybody, we're back. Now, I'm in this 10-team best ball draft on the draft app. Now, it just filled up, kind of got 15 seconds so this puppy gets going. Looking down the chart right here, I got the 8th pick overall. So, man, the 8th pick's a little tricky. Sometimes you're sitting there and you're kind of like, oh, man, a lot of the top running backs are probably going to be gone. So, I did write an article recently. I put the sound on so you guys can hear when it's my pick. You only hear a noise once I actually go on the clock. But actually, it's going to do it every time. So I'm going to go ahead and kill that noise. But let me reset here. So Saquon Barkley went off the board first, then Zeke Elliott. I mean, you see that in every league. No big surprise. Christian McCaffrey goes third. This is the first couple rounds where you really want to see what's happening, because that's going to kind of tell you where your big players are going to be at the board. Alvin Kamara went fourth. So like I said, lots of running backs going off the board. Right now, what I'll do is I kind of filter my players for running backs, receivers, because that's really all I'm looking at that top round. I'm not worried about tight ends or quarterbacks at this point. So David Johnson went off the board fifth. Lev Bell, sixth. That's surprising. I've seen him a lot lower in a lot of drafts. So DeAndre Hopkins went at 7. So I'm on the clock at 8. Now you got Melvin Gordon that's sitting there. He's got some, issues, things that have been going on. You've got the top wideouts. I'm going to go ahead and stick with my strategy. I just did an article on the Lions Wire talking about carry on and how I think running backs are king. So getting Melvin here at pick number 8, I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to kind of play out what I said on on Lions Wire that, even though most people don't do it, I think you can almost take 3 running backs, start your draft, and still get some good receivers. So let's go ahead and try that strategy unless something crazy jumps out at me. But, Melvin Gordon at pick number 8, you got to love that, right, Rod Allen?
Woo!
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I think this guy's going to play. He's in the prime of his career. He might put up a pretty hard battle. He might sit out all training camp, but I see him getting in there. So after I took Melvin, Devontae Adams went. My boy Joe Mixon went. Joe Mixon at number 10. I've seen him a lot in the second round, so that's somewhat surprising. But like I say, he's got some upside. I'm curious to see what he'll do this year. So a couple more picks, and I'll be back up at pick 203 in the second round. So again, some of my top running backs are out there. Got some great receivers still on the board. Odell Beckham, this is a guy, I probably have him at the top of my charts in regards to receivers. You're going to see the Mike Thomases, the Julios, the Devontaes go before him. But, anytime I can get Odell, I'm going to go ahead and do that, thinking that he's going to well outperform where he's slotted and where his projections are this year. So, got one more pick before I go. Julio just went. So right now what I'm thinking is I'm looking back again at my running back board. And I'm telling you, if Todd Gurley doesn't go here, I'm going to take Todd Gurley and have Melvin and Todd Gurley, 2 kind of risky picks, but 2 guys that, again, I'm not too worried about. I'm taking Todd Gurley over James Conner, Damian Williams. They got Dalvin Cook up there, Nick Chubb. I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice on Todd Gurley, no doubt about it, just on talent alone and situation. So, again, let's go ahead and take the 2 running backs, Todd Gurley and Melvin Gordon, picking low in that first round. You got to love that. Now, if I wasn't kind of going the 3 running back route, I would have probably definitely considered Odell Beckham there, especially with Odell. You don't have that worry about, the injury. You don't have to worry about, Melvin's holdout. You could have taken Melvin's holdout and mixed it with Odell, just being in a great situation and went with that. So, but I do feel good with 2 running backs off the bat, even though they both have question marks. So letting it work its way through. Odell went off the board. Dalvin Cook is gone. Let's see who went right after me. Big, can't guard Mike Thomas, and Tyreek went off. Now you got Juju, you've got Mike Evans. I won't name all these guys, but I'm just kind of working you guys through. So, again, I got running backs and wide receivers highlighted. Again, I'm not even really interested in tight ends or quarterbacks at this point. I'm looking at my team, man, and it's feeling good right now.
Oh, baby!
If Melvin Gordon's ready to rock and roll and get signed, and if Todd Gurley is, even if he's 75% of what he was last year, I'm good with that. Everybody gets freaked out, like, oh man, he might not see the carries. Like, Todd Gurley having a Henderson and having Malcolm Brown, those guys there, to me that helps him. That just kind of lets him not be so beat up. It lets him get some plays off. I don't mind it one bit. I feel like you gotta love, what he can do when he does touch the football. And yeah, everybody has a chance that maybe this knee is really lagging. Maybe it is going to totally hamper him, for the whole season. That's a possibility. There's no question about it. But I think that, a lot of this stuff gets overblown in the offseason. I saw there was an interview with Melvin Gordon, and they kind of asked him about Todd Gurley. He's like, man, Todd Gurley is good. Don't worry about him. So I feel good about the pick, especially kind of late, or mid-second round there. I'm going to go ahead and take him. Now, I just went on the clock. Man, there's still a lot of good running backs. Top receiver on the board, Amari Cooper is still available. Let's go ahead and do my 3 running back strategy, and just out of respect, I'm going to go ahead and take Kerryon Johnson. What's going on, Detroit Koolaid listeners? By now, most of you have probably heard of Reality Sports Online, the most powerful fantasy sports platform where owners get to build and manage their fantasy team just like an NFL general manager. But the question is, have you tried it? It's time to go see what all the buzz in the Dynasty community is all about. I'm talking free agency, multi-year contracts, a rookie draft, multi-team trades, franchise tags, contract extensions, first-round rookie options, automated contract and salary cap functionality, and much, much more. Think it sounds complicated? It's not. The best thing about Reality Sports Online Fantasy Front Office is it doesn't take any more time than a standard league. It just requires more strategy. Think you're among the fantasy elite? Well, this is the platform to test your mettle. Still not sure? You can test out your general manager skills for free in a mock free agency auction. If you like what you see, use promo code Koolaid, one word lowercase, promo code Koolaid, to receive a 10% discount on your team or league today. Fantasy just got real at realitysportsonline.com. Alright everybody, well, I tried to take Kerryon Johnson. I don't know what happened. I tried to click him twice and my clock ran out, I guess. They gave me Marlon Mack. Now, Marlon Mack's probably going to be on my bust list next week. This is a guy I don't have in any leagues. I'm not a fan of. So I definitely would have taken Kerryon Johnson or Leonard Fournette there. I didn't get him. I got Marlon Mack. Man, this is why you got to use your queue, and you got to queue people up so that kind of stuff doesn't happen. All right, we're going to go to the extreme now. Leonard Fournette and Kerryon are here, my next pick. So we're going to go ahead and go 4 running backs deep. And I love Leonard Fournette, but we're going to take Kerryon Johnson because I tried to take him last time. So I started this draft. I haven't taken one receiver yet, and we are 4 rounds deep. I got Melvin Gordon, Todd Gurley, Marlon Mack. It should have been Fournette or Kerryon, and I got Kerryon at my next pick. So surprised he was still on the board after that. But 4 running backs. Now we're going to have to really get creative with our receivers. And this is why I'm showing you this strategy, because most people think, oh man, I got to take these top receivers at the beginning of my draft, and then they have no running backs later. We did it the opposite. We took a ton of running backs, and now we're just gonna highlight our receiver board. Let's start queuing people up right now. At least we got a ways till our pick, 11 picks till I go next. We got AJ Green, we got Stefon Diggs, we got Julian Edelman on the board, Brandon Cooks is there, Kenny Galladay. I mean, a lot of those guys will probably not be available when I pick, but I'm still loving all those options. So again, it's probably going to be a little bit of a different receiving core because we waited so long. But not only did we get 2 stud backs that have crazy upside, but then we backed them up with 2 running backs just in case that they're not panning out. So like I say, I love this strategy. I love the depth you have to take at that position. You know, again, a lot of people are going to be taking the Kelceys of the world. I got to have Zach Ertz. I'm telling you, load up on your running backs. Leave yourself some wiggle room. You don't want to load up too much to where you can't get a guy if somebody slips and gets later in the draft. But I'm telling you, load up on running backs. There's a ton of receivers. There's 3, 4, 5 receiver sets, and usually there's only 1 or 2, maybe 2 running backs on a team that are good. So just let me catch you up here. I got 3 picks till my selection. Lots of receivers. People went off the board. I'm looking at receivers right now. Robert Woods is the top guy on the board. I'm not a huge fan. My boy Mike Williams of the Chargers is there. That's a guy I'm going to consider. Kenny Galladay is another guy with a crazy upside. Chris Godwin, a lot of people like. Those are the kind of guys on the board right now. So like I said, it's going to be you're not going to have the top studs at receiver, but again, I'm not too worried. I think we're still going to be able to make this receiving core look right and do some big things with it. So let's go ahead and see. We got one more pick. Right now people are taking David Montgomery, James White. I mean, even though I have Kerryon, I don't like double dipping. Oh, and somebody just took Kenny Galladay right before me. So, let's go ahead. Gosh, Chris Godwin is getting a lot of hype. I do like him. This is where we kind of roll the dice. So let's go ahead and we're going to take we're going to take Mike Williams here. I think he's got higher pedigree, kind of better situation. We'll take Mike Williams. We'll see if a Chris Godwin or, a DJ Moore gets back to me. So Robert Woods went right after that. I mean, I don't mind Mike Williams as my top receiver. He's big. He came from a great program. He's got some lingering back issues, but he scored a ton of touchdowns last year. If they put him to use, I mean, I'm totally thinking this guy can blow up. in year number 2. Chris Godwin went 2 picks before me. So, again, I think if I take Chris Godwin, I don't get Mike Williams. I like Mike Williams better as a football player, so I'm going to go ahead and take him. Now, here I'm up again. Top receivers, Tyler Lockett, Ridley, DJ Moore. Allen Robinson is available. Sammy Watkins. Gosh, Calvin Ridley, not bad. I don't love him. I'm going to go a little off the board here right now. I'm going to take DJ Moore, Carolina. I like what this kid does, man. He's physical. He can go get it. He had some ups and downs as a rookie, but again, I do not mind him. So again, different receiving core. I got Mike Williams, DJ Moore, and I'm still going to keep this receiver thing highlighted as we get into the 7th round will be my next pick coming up. So I would love to get a guy like Allen Robinson. I don't think he'll be available. Sammy Watkins just took a big hit because of Tyreek Hill coming back. I mean, I still think Sammy Watkins, even though he hasn't been amazing, I mean, he's been pretty good.
I'm feeling pretty good. Pretty good.
I'm feeling pretty good about Sammy Watkins as a player. I think he's probably over those foot injuries. I'm feeling really good about my roster right now. I mean, I got 4 top running backs. I'm filling out these receivers just based on not only best available, but I'm just letting this board fall to me. I mean, I'm looking right now, Christian Kirk, Tyler Boyd, Dante Pettis, Landry still available. These are all guys I don't mind having in my receiving core where I can just sort of mix and match. I can play guys on good offenses. I don't have to worry about having a couple of the top guys. So we'll see how this shakes out when it's all said and done. I wish I could undo that Marlon Mack pick. I think my team would be looking a lot different if I went with the 3 running backs rather than the 4 running back strategy. But like you say, I said take 3 backs in my article on Lions Wire when I was talking about carry on. Check that out if you haven't already. And here I'm going 4 deep. So I'm even giving you more heavy on the running backs. And we're still going to see if we can fill out these receivers. So I got 3 picks. I still got my boy Sammy Watkins on the board. Man, would I love it if he made it to me. Now, in these best balls, you got to keep an eye on bye weeks. You don't want to have a bunch of guys on the same bye week. You don't want to have a bunch of injury-prone players because you're not making any waiver pickups or any changes all year long. This is your team you're rolling with, so that's why you even it out, and that's why you kind of manage those bye weeks. That way, if you got 1 or 2 guys on a bye week, no problem, but if you got more, it limits your guys that are going to score for you, your options for scoring. Top receiver on the board, Sammy Watkins. We're going to snag him up. Love that offense. Love what we can get out of him. So Sammy Watkins, DJ Moore, Mike Williams as my receiving core, and probably going to get a good guy on the turn here. So as you can see, I'm not even telling you who's available quarterback-wise or tight end. I haven't even looked at those positions. Now, most people say, well, how can you not look at those positions? Like, you're just sort of missing out. There might be a guy there that's available. I already know that I can get a quarterback much later. I already know that the top tight ends are gone. Again, let's highlight tight ends right now. Evan Ingram is there. Jared Cook, Vance McDonald, and Njoku. Like, I would consider Ingram right now. He's the top player on the board overall. I love what he does as a receiver, but let me go back and look at my receivers. I am back up right now. So, again, I'm going to do what I preach, and I'm going to ignore tight end for right now. Evan Ingram might be a good player. He's obviously a great pass catcher. But I'm going to go ahead and let me take a quick look. Yeah, I'm just going to go do it. I know a lot of people don't like this guy this year. They're downplaying his numbers. I'm going to take Jarvis Landry right there and run. I mean, again, to me, he's a heck of a receiver to put on this team where I'm trying to piece together my receivers after waiting so long. Jarvis Landry, DJ Moore, Mike Williams, and Sammy Biscuits. Oh my goodness, like, to me, that's just youth and athleticism. I mean, I love it. I mean, other people might not be huge fans. I mean, they might think by me going 4 receivers that I did this.
It was a bad decision. Period, point blank. It was one of the dumbest decisions I ever made.
I don't think so. I think auto-picking Marlon Mack was a terrible decision. I mean, Marlon Mack is a guy I'm totally off the board on. I'm not a fan of. But, like I said, give me Give me Carry-On, give me Todd Gurley, and give me Melvin Gordon all day, baby. But we're still going to make this team work. So, again, let me see. So Ingram, a lot of those tight ends did go off the board. So I missed that tier. So I might as well just sort of forget about that right now. We are in the 9th round, and all I've done is take running backs and wide receivers. So, again, just looking at my team, let's go ahead and take a peek at it before I get back on the clock here. Melvin Gordon, Todd Gurley, Marlon Mack, Carry-On, Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Jarvis, and Sammy Watkins. Like, I got 4 of each, and now I'm in the spot where I may take a look. Like, let's go ahead and highlight. I mean, tons of good quarterbacks. Like I said, the tight ends just sort of even themselves out where they're not as much there. So I'm just going to go ahead and highlight both running backs and receivers because I might want to get another running back right now. Load up again, depending on who's available. So Miles Sanders is there. Darius Geis is a guy a lot of people are down on. I think he could have upside. Corey Davis is another young receiver. I think that's got a high ceiling that I might consider here. Lots of good options. And again, in the 9th round, these drafts go 18 rounds, so we're halfway through. I still think I have a lot of options. So Miles Sanders was kind of the top guy on the board. He just went off. That was a guy I would have considered if he was on the board here. I'm going to go ahead and do what I've been doing. I'm going to go ahead and add to this receiving core. Stick with that since I went so running back heavy. Give me Corey Davis of the Tennessee Titans, man. I think bounce back from Marcus Mariota. I think that Corey Davis is a guy that has shown some flashes. He hasn't been very consistent, but he was drafted high for a reason, as coaches will say a lot. And, man, I have him in a couple leagues this year. I think that everybody's so down on Corey Davis now. Now is the time to go get him because a lot of people think that he's, totally off the radar or, hey, we just don't, he's not going to cut it in the NFL. Whereas I think, he still has upside, and there's no reason to consistently think he's not going to bring it around. This could be the year he blows up. You don't want to miss out on that. So looking back at my roster, I just went on the clock. I'm picking here in the 10th round, middle of the 10th round, basically. I got Darius Geis and Njoku at the top of my board. Both guys I like. I don't have a tight end right now. So if I put Njoku in, he's my starting tight end. But man, 10th round. I mean, I'm looking at the running backs. Again, because I have some other guys, let's go ahead and take Darius Geis of the Washington Redskins, a guy that other people have read. Oh, man, he had a knee injury. Oh, he's already got a hamstring injury. Did anybody see Darius Geis last year before he got hurt? This is a beast of a running back. He's young. Adrian Peterson is there. Oh, yeah, big deal. I think that, Darius Geis, if healthy, is going to want to be on that team. I mean, people are going to want them on their team because Adrian Peterson, to me, unless Darius Geis is out for the year and Bryce Love is just out for the year, I mean, I loved Adrian Peterson back in the day, like 10 years ago. He was decent like 7 years ago. He had a good year last year. Okay, congratulations. But, not a guy that I would put a bunch of stock in this year. Darius Geis may not play for you in the first few games, but that's the best part about best ball. It doesn't really matter. Like, you can go ahead and wait on him for a couple weeks, get that 0, because he's not going to hurt your lineup anyway. And then when he is back balling and they're giving him the football, hey, he'll be up and rolling for you. So, again, we are going to be heading into the 11th round, and I have not taken a tight end or a quarterback. I mean, I'm telling you, this may seem crazy. We'll see how my team turns out at the end, but this is how I like to do it, man. I like to load up on those, what I call the premier positions. There are so many good receivers I'm still looking at right now. I mean, I'm 4 picks away. I got Golden Tate, N'Keal Harry, my boy James Washington. I've got DK Metcalf still on the board. I mean, a lot of other good rookies. Tyrell Williams, who I heard some people talking down the other day. Oh, Tyrell Williams, he's not very good. I mean, have you watched this guy? I mean, I think he's going to do big things in Oakland, so I'm super excited about him too. But let's go ahead and take a peek. I got a few more one more pick actually to my pick. Oh, and James Washington just went off the board. That was my guy. I was hoping he'd get there. I was going to take him as another beast of a receiver. All right, I'm on the clock. I got 20 seconds. Man, I do not like what I'm looking at here. We're going to go back to the wide receiver well. This is a tough call for me, but I'm going to do it anyway. Golden Tate, man, I think he's going to have a nice year with the New York Football Giants. I think he's a Eli Manning kind of guy. He's going to be where he needs to be. He's going to do what he needs to do, catching, kind of fit, in regards to my bye weeks, spreading them out a little bit. Not great. I'm looking, I do have multiple bye weeks on all my receivers, but I didn't want to triple up by taking another player that I considered there. So I'll take Golden Tate for his consistency, just for kind of the generally good football player he is and being able to do some things. So coming up, I'm up next again. So again, just running backs, receivers, running backs, receivers. Looking at my running backs, Sean McCoy, Deontay Foreman, guys like that, quarterbacks, tight ends. Man, just still feel like I'm going to wait. This is round 12 right now. I'm going to go ahead and take this guy. I wouldn't mind Shady McCoy here, to be honest. But this is a guy nobody believes in, but I do. Deontay Foreman of the Texans. I feel like if this guy is right, I remember seeing him towards the end of last year, and I'm like, Deontay Foreman looks like a beast in the uniform. Now, I know he lost some explosiveness because of that Achilles tear he had in his rookie year. I loved him coming out in the draft. I feel like the Texans, just in general, don't have a stud lead back. I mean, there's people that will justify Lamar Miller to you, just saying, "Oh, Lamar Miller, he's a lead back. Like, he can do." I mean, he's a guy that has to be taken in the first 4 rounds, and I don't love his crazy upside. I don't love his athleticism. He's just a blah running back to me. Deontay Foreman, if they gave him the reins, I feel like he could be a beast in the in-tight area, scoring touchdowns, as well as a guy that can carry the rock 15, 20 times and get you some really nice stats. So, again, a little bit of a reach there. There were guys like Jerick McKinnon, who I considered. I may even take him on the come around. Again, we're in round 12. Some of these later rounds, once they start getting towards the very end, then I'm starting highlighting everything. I want to see quarterbacks. I want to see tight ends. I want to just see tight ends right now because, like I said, this is where I know they're getting thin. This is kind of where I'm looking to take one. I've got Trey Burton, who I love, as well as Dallas Goedert on the board, as well as Grifka's favorite player, TJ Hawkinson. I think, if I can load up on 2 out of those 3, to me, that's going to get me by at the tight end position. I already gave away from the beginning that I wasn't going to have the top tight ends in the league. I don't think you have to when you're loading up on running backs and receivers like I am. So 8 more selections until I go. Get a look at my team again, just kind of see where I'm at. So I've got six running backs, 6 receivers. Gordon, Gurley, Mack, Geis, Carrion, Deontay Foreman, Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Landry, Watkins, Tate, Corey Davis. So, like I say, this is an aggressive strategy. I mean, this is a strategy most people are like, oh man, you got to have a top quarterback. You got to have one of those playmaking tight ends. I'm telling you, I'm still going to end up with a pretty dang decent quarterback when it's all said and done here. And tight end is a position I feel like I can get by with. I'm really hoping Trey Burton makes it to me, though. He's the top tight end on the board. There's other skill players that are out there. Man, it's going to be hard to pass on like a Jerick McKinnon. Even N'Keal Harry is still there, a guy that I think has upside. But again, Trey Burton is one of those cutoff players where, to me, it's a drop-off after him, in regards to the tight end position. So I'm going to have my fingers crossed. I hope Trey Burton gets back to me here. We'll see if it happens. Got 4 picks till I go. Jerick McKinnon just went, so he's off my list now. Come on, Trey Burton. Make it back to me. I'm sure most people already have some tight ends. Somebody just took a roll of the dice on DK Metcalf, one of my guys. Everybody knows that. I'm thinking he'll be excellent in Seattle with his opportunities. Will he get as many opportunities is a question. And Trey Burton's there. He's at the top of the overall board. It's a position I need. We're going to go ahead and take him. I love the coach in Chicago. I love kind of what that offense can do. Trey Burton, to me, a guy is like a under the radar tight end that can catch, he can run, he can kind of do different things. He's got some youth to him. I really like his upside, so I was glad to get him there as my top tight end choice. Now I'm up in 3 picks. I've got I may have a decision to make if N'Keal Harry is on the board. Tyrell Williams, the guy I like as well, or do I stick to my tight ends right now and go ahead and get Dallas Goedert, one of my other favorites? Again, yeah, he has to deal with Zach Ertz there, but you see what he did as a rookie? I hear he's been blowing up camp, and excited to see not only what he can do, but what if Zach Ertz gets hurt? Oh, baby. If he gets hurt, you're looking at a number 1, top 4 or 5 tight end in Dallas Goedert. So I got one more pick till my selection. I got Goddard highlighted. I got N'Keal Harry on the board. Let's see my receivers here. Yeah, I got nobody with a week 10 bye week. Dallas Goedert kind of down my list. Ooh, N'Keal Harry went right before me, the pick before me. So, Tyrell Williams is my other receiver I could take here. Tyrell Williams or Goddard? I'm going to take Tyrell Williams. That could hurt me because Goddard probably will not make it back to me. But he was a bit farther down the list. And that's sort of how you have to make decisions. Is like, if the guy's a lot farther down and he's not a top name, he's not the number 1 there, I'm going to take the chance I can wait on him. I also have Hawkinson sitting there, who's a guy I like, so I could take him. Again, I like Tyrell Williams, man, with the Raiders. Like, you know AB is going to get that coverage. You know that Derek Carr has been a decent deep ball player over his career when healthy. I mean, I think he's going to be chucking it, and I think Tyrell Williams, young, big, athletic player, is going to make plays. So, excited to see what he does. We are in the 15th round. We only have 15, 16, only 4 more picks to go, and I have not taken a quarterback. So we're also going to bring up QBs and kind of see where I'm at there. Usually I like to get 2 quarterbacks, 3 tight ends. I can definitely still accomplish that if that's all I take for the remainder of the draft. Again, I totally feel pretty good with all my other positions. 7 picks till I select. So 6 running backs, 7 receivers. Again, we went heavier on receivers because we went so heavy on running backs to start the draft. I'm probably going to go 2 tight ends and 2 QBs to finish out my draft. I got those 2 positions highlighted. Dallas Goedert still out there. Let's go ahead and highlight TJ Hawkinson so I can get him. Let's go ahead and take a look at these QBs. Again, everybody else took them in the first, round 5, round 7. Here we are in round 15, and I haven't taken one. We still got Jimmy Garoppolo, Matt Stafford, Derek Carr, Sam Darnold, Nick Foles, all guys I think I can get by with when it comes to the quarterback position. Let's go ahead and highlight tight ends again. Dallas Goedert just went 3 picks before my selection, so I did miss out on him. That may be a strategical error on my part. I am on the clock now, and TJ Hawkinson is still a little ways down the board. I miss out on him. I'm really going to probably hate my tight ends. Let's go ahead. I'm going to take Garoppolo at quarterback here. He played really well. Was injured. People are saying, they're not sure if he's going to be able to bounce back or not. I like him as a football player, man. He looks like a franchise quarterback. Has some pretty good weapons around him. Usually don't take him. That's probably one of the only drafts I have taken him. But I'm thinking if I compare Garoppolo and Stafford, that may be my quarterbacks. Looking at my tight ends again, Hawkinson now is creeped up the board, one of the top picks available. Chris Herndon, who I like, is available, but he's got that 4-game suspension. This would kind of be a decent dice roll on a Chris Herndon if I want to do that. But I think I'm going to go with the healthy rookie, TJ Hawkinson, if he's on the board. at this point, and then wait on one of those quarterbacks to come back to me next round, depending on who it is. There's just a bunch of options I like. I mean, when you're looking at, even if Stafford goes off the board, Trubisky is still there, who a lot of people are pumping up this year. But I may be able to get Hawk and come back and get Stafford, which that would be ideal, no doubt. Not only as a Lions fan, but just as a drafter, I wouldn't mind that. Chris Herndon and Darren Waller, 2 tight ends, went right off before me. There's no playing around. You can't kind of mess around with T.J. Hockenson at this point. Gonna have to take him. Now Greg Olsen is on the board. He's a big tight end, the past few years, but he's way past his prime. And okay, did take T.J. Hockenson there, so Hockenson and Burton, 2 guys, tight ends I like. Again, they're middle to bottom of the road in most people's mind. I think they could be nice values based on all the other positions I've been able to load up on. And now I'm going to look back at, I got tight ends and quarterbacks because, again, like I said, we are in round 16. We're heading to round, so I got 17 and 18. I'd like to get another quarterback and then sort of see if a quarterback, I'm probably going to take a 3rd tight end because I've waited so long. I don't love what I have right now, but I don't hate it. So when that happens, I'll lean towards, hey, hoping I can get by with two quarterbacks. They don't get hurt a ton. If they do, you still got that other guy. If you were to get 2 quarterback major injuries, that would be surprising. So we will see what happens. Somebody did just take Bumsky Greg Olsen. He's going to be up in the broadcast booth before you know it. And even though Cam Newton loves him, his foot injuries and just a bunch of issues, so not a guy that I love. But, yeah, man, we're going to go ahead and highlight Matt Stafford here. We got Noah Fant if I wanted to go another young tight end. Jack Doyle's still available. Obviously, I love him over Eric Mebron. And, yeah, man, if Jack Doyle makes it back to me here in 7 picks, I might just have to take him. Guy always produces, nothing fancy about him, meat and potatoes, but he's the top guy on the board by far. He's at 152 ADP, and Noah Fant's at 173. So, like I say, give me Jack Doyle at that point. But Jack Doyle or Matt Stafford, that's gonna be a hard choice because, if I don't take Stafford, I'm gonna have to have Derek Carr probably or Sam Darnold, which not my favorite in comparison. But who knows? Like, we'll talk about it on a future Koolaid Cast, but we'll see. I think Matt Stafford could have an incredibly good bounce back year, and his stats could be nowhere near what they've been in the past, which would be kind of different to see. So we'll see what happens here. A couple more picks before my selection. Doyle and Stafford are available. Jack Doyle is the top player, so if top player in regards to the tight end or quarterback, let's put it that way. So if yeah, man, if Doyle makes it back, he's just so much higher than all the other tight ends. I'm going to have to take him. And then I'll wait on the QB. Just looking at QBs, Derek Carr, Matt Stafford, Darnold, Dalton, Foles, Mariota. Those are the kind of the top starters that are available. Matt Stafford just went off the board, so there goes that. Oh, Jack Doyle, 1 pick before me after I waited so long on that pick. Oh my goodness. Now what do I do? Gosh, Sam Darnold. See, I can't take Sam Darnold because he has the same bye week as Garoppolo. I have this guy in no leagues, but I just said he throws a decent deep ball. We'll take Derek Carr here. We're going to roll the dice here that a decent tight end is going to make it back. Gosh, Derek Carr and Jimmy G. Can I get by with those type of quarterbacks? We'll have to see. The tight ends, man, we got Tyler Eifert and Gesicki or Gerald Everett are probably my 3rd guy. Again, it's a risky strategy. It's an aggressive strategy. It's a strategy where most people look at your tight ends and go, your tight ends are Burton, Hockenson, and Eifert, or Burton, Hockenson, and Gerald Everett. Oh, boy. But I'm telling you, like, I think you get by with those. Looking at my bye weeks, round 6 and round 5 for my tight ends. So Gesicki's on a week 5, so that sort of rules him out in this format. Eifert and Everett are both week 9, so that gives me a 3rd tight end. Obviously, there's crazy injury issues with Tyler Eifert. but he's the top-rated guy. He's still the guy in Cincy with Sample behind him. Drew Sample's a player I like, but not maybe right this second. And I am up, and Tyler Eifert is on the board. So it's between Eifert and Gerald Everett. Now, Gerald Everett, when they drafted him, they were like, he's going to be the Jordan Reed of this offense. The guy's done nothing, kind of like Jordan Reed hasn't done it for a while. Eifert had that big touchdown year, and he's had so many injuries. Let's go ahead and roll the dice that he's healthy, playing on a 1-year deal, I believe, with them, and that he can blow up. So Tyler Eifert, Hawkinson, and Trey Burton, 3 guys that I think can either score touchdowns or can be the top player on their team and get snaps. That's kind of what you're looking for at that point. So Team Okri is complete on draft. Let's go ahead and take a look at it, everybody. Again, probably would have taken 3 running backs and started on my receivers, but it kind of nice it worked out that way, that I went 4 deep, just so that I even showed you that you can even go that extra round and still fill out a decent team. So some of you may hate this, some of you may not. Let's see what you think. My quarterbacks, sometimes I like to go 3. I think you can get away with 2 in these type of best ball leagues. So my quarterbacks, Jimmy Garoppolo, Derek Carr. Running backs, Melvin Gordon, Todd Gurley, Marlon Mack, Darius Geis, Kerryon Johnson, Deontay Foreman. Really surprised that they have Darius Geis projected to score more points than Kerryon this year. That's surprising to me because I do not think that will be the case, but I do like both those young guys in their second year. Receivers, Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Jarvis Landry, Sammy Watkins, Golden Tate, Corey Davis, Tyrell Williams. Again, look at those receivers just in regards to their youth, athleticism, ability to kind of do all types of things on the football field, and some upside touchdown potential from a handful of those guys. So, I do not mind that as a receiving core one bit. Your tight ends are going to be Trey Burton, Tyler Eifert, TJ Hawkinson. Now, they have TJ Hawkinson projected at 54 points in this league, whereas they have Tyler Eifert at 96. They're giving Tyler Eifert double what TJ Hawkinson is going to get. I mean, you've seen my article on Lions Wire. You know what I feel about that. I feel like my depth chart, if you want to put it that way, is going to be Trey Burton, Hawkinson, Eifert. But, hey, however it shakes out, 3 tight ends, I think I'll be able to get by with that. Whew, everybody, we just went 18 rounds live on the draft app for you. Again, I want to do 10 teams because I think a lot of your drafts are going to be 10 teams. A lot of people do 12 now as a standard in their work leagues or at home. So that should give you a decent feel of what it would be like to go 3-4 running backs before you even look at other positions, before you even look at your wide receivers. Don't get tempted to take some of those top receivers. You will not like your running backs when it's all said and done. You'll be thin. Even if you find a couple top guys, you will not have this kind of depth where Kerryon Johnson on this list is my 5th guy, and I only need to really start 2 with a flex. So that means maybe you're starting 3, but we probably would even start receivers most weeks depending on how they score. So between my running backs and wide receivers, I feel like my starters are set. My flexes are good to go. And I'm taking chances at quarterback and tight end. That's what you do. That's fantasy football in these types of leagues. You play the depth game. You take those guys later where there's crazy depth. You load up on the positions that not only are hard to find, but are injury prone. Wide receiver, running back. The guys that score the most points. Wide receiver, running back. Okay, quarterbacks score a lot, and there's 23, 24 of them that can play for you on any given week. So that's why you wait. So everybody, I hope that helped you in your leagues. I had fun doing it. Fun on a solo show today. Again, life gets busy. Chuck was busy. It's fun to jump on here and talk football with you guys. I'm glad to still get a show out this week. And drink it in. I think you'll like it if you stick to that 2, 3, even 4 running back strategy in your league, and then go receiver heavy after that. So everybody take care. Check us right back here on Wednesday and Friday. We'll be talking all things Detroit Lions. Wednesday show, we're going to be talking tight ends and special teams, dollars and cents. And then Friday, we're going to have recap of training camp, which would have just kicked off a day before on Thursday. So I'm hoping to actually get down to training camp. If that all works out with my crazy busy life, I'll be able to tell Grifka what I saw tell him about how I soaked up the sun and enjoyed and probably talked some smack and had some fun when the Lions come over for autographs. Always a good time to get down to Allen Park and just kind of see the team live. So that's what I'm hoping to do. That's kind of our schedule this week. And then, heading into next week, me and Griff are going to be breaking down that schedule, giving you our schedule predictions, telling you what the Lions are going to finish, how they're going to do. And me and Chuck on Fantasy Football Flavor will be talking bus. Those guys you want to avoid, those guys you want to not have on your team. So pretty much anybody I didn't draft here in this draft are the guys you want to avoid. All the guys I took, put them on your short list of guys you want to select. So, again, thank you so much, everybody. We're going to be drinking that Detroit Kool-Aid all week. And, camp will be here. Football is right around the corner. Super pumped. Enjoy doing this show. Everybody support our sponsors. Hit us up on Twitter at Derek Oakery. Any questions, anything you want to know, we'd love to interact with you there. And I always really enjoy all the questions and stuff from the fans. So appreciate everybody. We'll check you right here next week on the Fantasy Football Flavor and for Detroit Koolaid Cast. We're out, everybody. Take care.
Pack the bag, start the plane. This game is over. It is over. What a comeback by the Lions.
Drink it in, man.